Hi everybody, it's Gemma, welcome back to Pampered Wolf. Today we're going to be doing a full face of Bare Minerals. I've never done this on my channel before. I am super excited, at least I don't think I've ever done it on my channel before. Maybe I have, and I've just forgotten about it. Anyway, if we have done it on my channel before, sorry about that, we're doing it again. If you are new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I am a fully qualified esthetician and lover of anything beauty, skincare and makeup. I upload videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 PM London time, and I'm also on Instagram if you want to check me out over there as well. It's at Pampered Wolf, all lowercase, no spaces. I would really appreciate it if you would consider clicking on that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Okay, so I think it's really important to tell you that I bought all of these products from Debenhams in Meadowhall from a fantastic lady called Julie. There is nothing about Bare Minerals that she does not know. She was absolutely fantastic. Kitted me out from top to bottom, apart from the primer, because I told her that I'd already got some of the primer left at home. Turns out I got home and I couldn't find that anywhere, so I'm not going to be applying a primer today. But the reason I'm telling you I bought these pre-lockdown is because my face was a lot paler pre-lockdown, and we've all been spending lots more time in our gardens whilst in lockdown, enjoying the weather. And although I wear a big hat and SPF smothered all over my skin, I have still caught the sun a little bit. My skin is a lot deeper. So luckily, Julie kitted me out with a bronzer as well, which I got a feeling will be heavily used in this video. So let's get straight on with it. I am not using a primer, like I said. My skincare has soaked into my skin. It is slightly tacky, so I'm not quite sure whether that's gonna work. I don't use mineral powders a lot at all, so this is not my forte. I am not a makeup artist. I'm probably going to do this completely wrong, but we're going to have a play around with this. Now, I have used the Bare Minerals pressed powder. Can't remember what that's called, but it's fantastic and it's a swirl, and I like to press that into my skin. I know you've got to sort of swirl, tap, and then swirl this into the skin. So I'm going to try doing that. And the brush that I'm going to use is the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Complexion Perfection brush. This is the number 7, and it's got a dual end to this. This is an amazing brush. So it's got a concealer end, and it's also got a foundation end as well, which isn't super dense. It's dense enough that you can press product into the skin if you want to, but it's soft enough and loose enough so that you can really swirl stuff into the skin without aggravating the skin underneath. So I've gone for the shade 01, which is fair, maybe disastrous, but this was a great shade for me 4 months ago. This has been in my drawer for 4 months and I completely forgot about it. Oops. So we're going to do it today. So I've got my number 7 brush from IT Cosmetics, and I'm just swirling the brush in the lid. I'll tap off all the excess, and then I'm going to go straight in. I'm not going to go straight into this area here because I don't want to clag up any powder and really let the powder grip. So I'm just going to add this to my cheek area and just build this up. As you can see, it's already turning me into a ghost, but we will rectify that a little bit later. Just keep on swirling and tapping. This is the original mineral powder. The matte one, Julie advised me to stay away from a little bit. She thinks this one looks much more flattering on a more mature skin. And I may try this on my mum. Oh my goodness, look how pale I look. Oh dear. Okay, this may not end well. It's looking really nice on my skin though. So I may have to do this again in the winter. Just add a little bit more powder. It looks a lot darker in the lid than it does on my face. I tell you what, this is actually looking amazing on my skin. it looks a lot better in real life than it does with the light shining on it. I mean, it just looks ridiculous with the light shining on it, but I'll just have to bronze everything up. But as far as the actual powder goes, it's looking really nice. It's looking a little bit dry in this area here where I have my dry patches. But other than that, absolutely fantastic. Let's see how this applies to the eyelids. So I'm just going to take the other end, which is the concealer end, and see how this applies. It's not bad at all. So at the moment, I really like this. It's looking a little bit dry around these areas here, which are my drier areas, which I don't like. But everywhere else on my skin, there's just a beautiful sheen on the surface of the skin. I've not built it up massively, but it just looks very, very fresh. So let's move on to concealer before we brush everything over with the mineral veil. This one is in the shade, what shade is this in? Fair. I'm just going to pop the tiniest bit just there. And then I'm going to dip my brush in that. Bring it to the inner corner. Do the same with this one. Also the outer corner where I get a bit of discoloration. And then just blend this over the areas that I need it. So that looks nice, not masses of coverage. I'm just going to add a tiny bit more just over the darkness. So I'm going to apply that to the back of my hand now rather than applying it to the skin, just so that I don't get too much product on the skin. So I'm just going to tap that over the areas that need a little bit more. So I'm just going to go off camera and do my brows because I don't have any Bare Minerals brow products. I'll be right back. Okay, so those are done. Next step is mineral concealer. This one is the SPF 20 Eye Brightener and it's in the shade Well Rested. I absolutely swear by this stuff. Not particularly on its own, although you can use it on its own. This is the best setting powder for your under eye concealer. Not for every single under eye concealer, it doesn't work for some of them, but for some, just a very, very fine dusting of this underneath the eye just adds that little bit of extra coverage where you need it and sets everything in place so it doesn't move. It's just unbelievable and it's my new favourite. So I'm just going to tip a little into the lid, swirl it in the powder, knock off the excess, and then just tap that underneath the eye. I'm not swirling underneath the eye because I don't like swirling anything underneath the eye, to be quite honest, but I don't want to get too much product underneath. I just want that tiny weeny bit. And then I can go back in a second and just add a little bit more coverage. Can you see how much brighter that area is? It's added that little bit of extra coverage, but it's also set everything in place. Honestly, this is my new favourite thing and it's my new favourite trick to do. I'm going to do my favourite under eye concealer routine again soon using this powder and just really show you the difference. It's just the best thing ever. I can't believe I've not tried it before. It's one of those duh moments. Why have I not been using this before? So it's just hidden that little bit of extra blue. It's reflecting the light, so it's disguising a little bit more of those dark circles, adding a tiny bit of extra coverage and setting everything in place. So, you know, triple whammy, or was that quadruple whammy? I lost count. It's just amazing. Okay, let's move on to the mineral veil and set all of this in place so that it doesn't move. Just gonna tip some of the mineral veil in my little pot. So there's some in the little pot there. And I'm gonna take quite a big powder brush and I'm gonna swirl my powder brush in this powder. Knock off the excess. And then just dab that on where I want it. That's where I'm going to leave it for the mineral veil. The mineral veil is absolutely fantastic at setting everything in place, at smoothing everything off. Your skin will feel absolutely amazing once you set it with the mineral veil. It's just super smooth and it just feels like velvet. It's so nice to touch. You don't mind waiting there 5 minutes, do you, while I just feel my face? It is so, so nice. It also blurs everything off a little bit. So my drier areas that were extremely noticeable earlier on are now not as noticeable. They still are noticeable. I don't think I would recommend the Bare Minerals mineral powders for anybody with a seriously dry skin, because I just think the powders do tend to cling on to the dryness a little bit, even if you add a lot of emollient creams over those areas before you start applying the mineral powder. I mean, if you wear the mineral powders and you have seriously dry skin and you think they look absolutely fantastic, do share your tips and tricks in the comment section below, because like I said, I'm relatively new to mineral powders, so I would definitely really like your advice, and I'm sure everybody else would like your tips and tricks as well. Let's move on to mascara. The mascara that I'm going to be wearing today is the Lashtopia mascara. This is absolutely beautiful. It's a lovely mascara. The only thing I would say to be wary of is I have found that this can be a little bit flaky when it gets very dry. Usually in the colder months I find that this flakes a little bit more. It's a really nice thick formula, which I really like. Sometimes if you get a really thin formula, it can go absolutely everywhere and take an absolute age to dry down. This is quite a creamy texture. So it feels quite nice on the lashes, and it doesn't make your lashes really rigid, so they feel like they're going to snap, which I really don't like from a mascara. If it makes me feel like if I touch my lashes they're going to break, I don't like that. But this doesn't do that at all. It's a very creamy consistency. Okay, let's move on to bronzer, because, I mean, let's face it, I really need it. So the bronzer that I've got is in the shade Warmth, and it's really quite dark, but I was assured by Julie that this was the right one for me, and, you know, I trust Julie. She knows her stuff. So let's just dab a little bit of this on around the perimeter of my face before we go in to the entire face and just deepen this up a little bit. I do have a bit of a dint on my forehead, and actually I do have some hyperpigmentation within the dint, so it just makes it look a lot worse. But bronzer does tend to sit in that quite a bit and make it look like I haven't blended things out properly, when actually it's the hyperpigmentation and the shadow of a dint. Not quite sure whether my mum dropped me as a child. Maybe we'll ask her. Maybe that's the cause of the dint on my head. I'm not quite sure I like this bronzer. Obviously we've got to roll with it today because it's the only shade of Bare Minerals bronzer that I have. It's a little bit warm for me, and it is called Warmth, so you would guess that it would be, but yeah, it's not really my preference. I'm going to take that all the way up the cheek, just to bronze me up a bit down the nose. Not quite sure. It's not the best bronzer I've ever seen on my skin tone. I think because this mineral powder, the 01 in Fair, is quite pinky, the contrast of the serious warmth with the cool undertone is clashing a little bit. I think I do need something a little bit more neutral. Maybe I'll go back and get properly colour matched when, you know, things calm down a little bit. Julie was really had to guess quite a lot because we were at that stage just before lockdown where everything was removed from the shelves. There were no testers or anything like that, so she literally just had to look at my skin and guess. So I like that much better now it's all blended in. I'm not offended by the shade of the bronzer. I will use the bronzer again. I just think it was the very sharp contrast between the mineral powder, the original mineral powder, that's too pale for me. It's a little bit too cool toned for me, along with the warmth of the bronzer was just a bit too much to bear. But now it's all blended in and it looks much, much warmer and much more sun-kissed. I really like it, so I will be using this one again. Now, the mineral powder does look a little bit speckled in the pores on my nose. It's also a little bit dry around this area, so it has emphasized that dryness a little bit. Also around this area here, like I said, the mineral veil toned that down a little bit, but it does still look a little bit dry around those areas, but that might fade throughout the day as my natural oils come through, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like. Let's get a little bit of blush on because I just think blush has the ability to bring together any look and just make everything looks so much better. So I've gone for the Gen Nude in On the Mauve. So really, really beautiful shade. This, I know, because I've used it before, is super, super pigmented. Don't get a lot on your brush, and I've literally just swirled that in there because I'm now used to swirling things with it being Bare Minerals, and I might have to get a tissue and just take some of that off the brush, otherwise I'm gonna look like Aunt Sally. Here we go. So I'm just dabbing that on the cheeks first, and then I'll start to blend. This is such a nice shade, look at that. So nice. Really, really beautiful. I'm taking that all the way up the cheeks, all the way around onto my temples just to lift a little bit. This is really, really beautiful. So let's add a little bit of gloss. I like a really natural nudie gloss. This one is the Gen Nude in the shade Major, and it is just such a beautiful neutral pink. The applicator to this is extremely bendy, which is really, really nice to use. Very, very easy to use. Very accurate with it having a little bit of a bend. So my lips are quite dry at the moment. I guess when I get a little bit anxious, I start to chew on my lips, which, you know, it's no good for them. They don't like to be eaten. So, you know, they're a little bit dry at the moment. So just adding a gloss just really does help that. It's really nourishing and really hydrating on the lip. Feels a little bit sticky, this one. I don't think I'd wear this if I'd got my hair down, because as soon as a gust of wind came, about 10 strands would be stuck to my lips, and I just can't abide that. So this probably wouldn't be one of those that I would wear with my hair down, but it's comfortable. It's just a little bit sticky, in my opinion. So the colour is beautiful though. Really, really beautiful. So what do you think? This is the end look using all of the Bare Mineral products. I really, really like it. And I got a feeling that I am going to go out and buy the original Bare Minerals powder in my correct shade because it was so quick and so simple to apply. So, I mean, when I'm in a rush, it's perfect, really, really nice. Usually I would prefer a liquid foundation or a liquid tinted moisturizer, but this is really, really nice and it's very even. It's gone a little bit speckly in my dry area on my nose, like I mentioned, and a little bit dry around here, but the mineral veil really did sort that out. It just became more evident after I'd applied the bronzer and I'd buffed the bronzer in. So let's just see, just 1 second, if that actually tones down a little bit with a bit of extra mineral veil over the top. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So it's probably because I disturbed the original mineral powder with the bronzer that went a bit speckly and a bit dry. Now I've applied a bit more of the mineral veil over the top. It's smooth again now and nowhere near as noticeable, so I'm happy with that. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Do let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Which Bare Minerals products do you absolutely love and which ones just don't play well on your skin? Also, has this enticed you to go and try any of the ones that I've tried in this video? Do let me know. If you absolutely love mineral-based foundations, do share your tips and tricks in the comment section below. Not just for me, but also for the rest of the wolf pack if they're thinking about moving on to a mineral-based foundation. Your tips and tricks will be invaluable. Hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.